So there's definitely a push now for men and women to be integrated or, combined into the same bathroom together. There's definitely a push for that. It's happening in Canada. It's something that a lot of people would like. Well, I don't know about a lot of people, but it's something that, a vocal and respectable amount of people would like to see. And I think the people who want to see this are individuals who are non-binary, which means they're not willing to identify as either gender. They don't think man or woman applies to them. And just people who you would consider a normal man or a woman, not to disrespect non-binary people, but I think there are people like that, just like me, everyday people who just say, hey, I think that this would work. I think it's okay. And look, anyone who isn't in favour of gender equality in society, I think, should be laughed at and condemned, and basically, thrown to the curb. I think that anyone who kind of doesn't condone or doesn't approve of that idea is just a silly person. But I don't think that this is this doesn't seem like a gender equality thing to me. This just seems like a kind of a push to encourage people or to kind of make it public that you don't have to identify or you don't have to fall into the man or woman category. Like they're talking about gender fluidity being a thing in schools these days. They're talking about telling kids from a young age, hey, look, if you don't identify as a boy or a girl, or you don't feel like you're a boy or a girl, you're allowed to come out and say, I'm the opposite sex. I'm not sure where I stand on that, but purely talking about the bathroom topic, because we'll keep it in the topic. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about bringing two groups of people together who are biologically very different. Men and women are very different. They're more alike than different, obviously, because we're the same species. But when you're talking about differences, there are some really, really large ones that I think would impact the way we can function in a bathroom. Now, I do think there are certain settings where this would work, where you can send a man and a woman into the same bathroom and it would be fine. And I think 95% of the population could work under these settings. I think if you go to the shopping centre, but places that are open between 9 to 5, and you send groups of men and groups of women in there, I think it would be fine. I don't think there would be any issue there. I think, 99% of the time it would be okay. Do I think there would be men who would be caught peeping, caught filming, caught trying to harass women? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that would be, granted it wouldn't be that common, but I definitely think it would happen. And I think that any means to prevent something like that is necessary. And does that speak to what men need to improve on individually more than, the whole bathroom chat? Yeah, probably. But regardless, I don't think that we as a society are ready to put the two genders in the one bathroom. For that reason, again, I stress, I do think normally it's okay. I do think most people would be able to work with it. I think most people would go through it seamlessly. But let's talk about a setting where I really don't think it would work. And kind of if you want to start it from the ground up, the end goal would be, if you want to put gender neutral bathrooms in one place, the end goal would be to put them in all places. Can you imagine going out for a night on the beers, right? It's 2 a.m. at a busy club. You've got a gender neutral bathroom there. You've got blokes and girls lining up both to go in the bathroom. Let's face it, men and women act differently in bathrooms. There's no denying that. And I think if you look me in the eye and say, hey, Jake, I really don't think there would be an issue with drunk men and women in the same bathroom at a pub, at a nightclub, I think you're a little bit silly because, men, and this is mainly because of how men act in bathrooms, the reason I don't think this would work. So I don't think women are really at fault at all. I think men are at fault, and men are definitely preventing this more so than women are. But if you go to the pub, right, you see guys pissing on the walls, you see guys fighting, you see guys kicking down doors, you see guys, like, a boy's bathroom is absolute chaos, right? And I haven't been in a women's bathroom before, at least not intentionally, and I can't remember it. I don't know, maybe when I was like 8, I went in with mum, but I don't imagine that there's the same thing going on in women's bathroom. I think if you combine the two, and you had girls who were standing at the mirror, doing all the stereotypical things, chatting, doing their makeup, whatever, I imagine being relatively peaceful. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there's girls, playing bull rush in the bathroom, then let me know. I'm happy to kind of think, oh, well, maybe, this idea is more viable than what I initially thought. But from my understanding and my opinion, if you put men who are naturally quite aggressive, quite hostile sometimes on the drink, if you combine them with women in this country, I think you're going to have girls getting hurt. I think you're going to have girls complaining. I think you're going to have mass conflict. I think you're going to have guys peeping over the stalls, as I mentioned before. Again, I don't see men and women's bathroom to be an issue now. I don't think it's something that needs to be changed. I don't think it's like a glaring societal issue. Hey, we need to tackle, racial equality. We need to tackle XYZ. But first, we just need to sort out these goddamn bathrooms because there's a massive... I don't see it there being a massive problem. I've gone over 5 minutes here. There's a lot more to talk about. I may not have articulated this as well as I wanted to. But basically, I think there are unchangeable differences between boys and girls that would really negatively interfere with a plan like this. I think there are certain settings where it would work, but I think if you're talking about clubs where people are drunk, where there are large groups of people lining up, hey, look, people hate this expression, but boys will be boys, and being a man involves at times being irrationally temperamental, aggressive, and do we need to tell boys from a young age, hey, you need to pull it back? I don't know. That's a different discussion. I don't really want to get into that. But at the moment, this isn't a viable change for me. I don't think it's something that can work. It's not something that I'm happy to kind of stand behind. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think girls and boys go to the bathroom at different times, or different places, rather. Keep to yourself. And look, for people who don't identify as a man or a woman and are feeling a little bit left out, I'm not sure. I don't know. But I do know that there's not enough of these people to push for a change that will have dramatic implications on, I guess, the way we go to the toilet. Sounds a bit silly. That's my stance. It wouldn't work. Let me know what you think. If you have 7 minutes of time, watch this. Let me know. If you get to the end of this, thank you. Let me know what you think.